Hi, my name is Mike Ward. I'm the Global Director of Content at Informa Pharma Insights. We're here at the Biotech Showcase in San Francisco. It's a meeting that runs parallel with the JP Morgan meeting, which of course is the meeting where all the great and the good, the movers and the shakers of the pharma, medtech, biotech industries come and meet at the beginning of the year. So I'm joined by Alan Nelson, who's the Chairman and CEO of VisionGate, which is a Phoenix, Arizona-based company. Right. In the past, you guys were considered as a diagnostics company, but you're now transitioning into a therapeutics company. So first, welcome, Alan. And so, what's the big change and what's motivated that?
Yeah, thank you, Mike. It's great to meet you. And yes, we're making the giant leap from a diagnostics company to a therapeutics company. We do this on the basis of a technology platform that we call the cell CT. That is essentially a black box that sits on the internet and analyzes cells in a sputum. So it's a non-invasive test, and when you do a deep cough, you produce millions of cells from your lungs that we analyze on this machine, and it's exquisitely sensitive to lung cancer. It is exquisitely sensitive to normal patients as well. Right. So we can do mass screening with this tool without creating a lot of false positives, which would be very important in this industry. We also look to determine whether we could detect the pre-cancer condition called dysplasia. And if we could do that, we could think about chemoprevention of lung cancer. And lo and behold, we succeeded in developing that test, and University of Colorado had been developing the drug called Iloprost. We just licensed that drug last week, worldwide exclusive license, and that makes us a biotech with a unique test that allows us to prescribe the drug.
Okay, so let's just sort of revisit the diagnostic offering you have. So how does that work? I mean, if I think I might have an issue that I need to go, do I look at it myself, or do I go to an oncologist and they run the test?
Yeah, no, you might end up going to CVS or Walgreens, or you just request our kit, because you can take the kit home. You cough in the morning into a collection vial that has our chemistries in it, and then you mail it to the lab. So we operate a CLIA licensed laboratory. When the kit arrives in the laboratory, then we harvest the cells from your sputum, stain them, and then inject them into the cell CT device that analyzes every single cell in your sputum. That produces a diagnostic result that we want to send to a doctor somewhere. Yeah. So that could be your GP. If it's Arizona, with a new law, you can request the data directly, and we'll send it to you on your iPhone.
Right, okay. So you then decided to go into the therapeutic area yourselves. I mean, what was the reason for that sort of strategic change?
We could do it. So we had developed the one and only test for the condition just precedent to lung cancer, called severe dysplasia. Right. And meanwhile, Colorado developed the one and only drug that reverses that by 40%. It's quite shocking. Okay. And if you pull 40% of patients with dysplasia away from the cliff of getting cancer, you would, in theory, reduce mortality significantly by 40%. So our end goal is to treat dysplasia, so you don't get cancer in the first place. And we have the unique test, so it was a perfect combination. We're qualified to run the test and then prescribe the drug.
Okay, and so what evidence had the University of Colorado, what had it actually presented to you to convince you that this was something that was worth pursuing?
Good question. So drugs go through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then finally you get to market. And they had already conducted the phase 1 trial. They showed that the drug has minimal side effects. They determined what the dosage was. They proceeded to a National Cancer Institute supported phase 2 trial, and it was wildly successful.
And that's where
they enrolled initially 180 patients, and the result was 40% reduction in dysplasia. They met the statistic, but it was done with biopsies. Right. So, and so you're not going to sign up to get a biopsy of your lungs when you don't think you're sick. Yeah. So then they decided, what do we do for phase 3 trials? And the result was, let's collaborate with VisionGate, because they have a non-invasive test for dysplasia, and now we can actually accrue a sizable portion of patients. So we're about to launch into a phase 3 trial. They published the result in a prestigious journal. So we're a Phase II approved drug.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So looking at how does the drug actually work, or are you aware of the mechanism?
Yeah, well, it's published. So there is a pathway that can start with inflammation of the lungs. It's exacerbated by carcinogens like from cigarette smoke, etc. So it interrupts that pathway just before you get the stimulation to the cells that actually cause them to begin dividing with no control. And that's that magic crossover between dysplasia and cancer, and it stops it there. It's kind of like the patient is on the cliff and they're about to jump to their death with lung cancer, and it pulls you back from the cliff.
Okay, so the Phase III trial, how many patients are you expecting to recruit or enroll in
Well,
this?
so the FDA has just launched expedited approval programs.
Right.
So we've applied for that, both on the diagnostic and on the drug side, and it would appear that the number 500 patients may be sufficient to get the first clearance, providing that we continue on to do post-approval studies, which would be longer term, statistical value. They might take 5 years, but at least we get to the market after the first 500 patients.
Now, you mentioned that the university had got some funding from NCI to conduct the earlier trials. Running Phase III trial, even if it's only just in 500 patients, is still not an inexpensive pursuit. So have you guys, got the financial support to be able to
Yeah, we have both. Of course, we're going to go to the NCI and ask them if they'd be willing to consider continuing their support of these studies, given the priority of lung cancer.
Sure.
They will probably notice that there's now a commercial partner at the table, and they may say, you guys pay for it. But the negotiation will soon start. Right. We'll see how that plays out. If we pay for all this ourselves, it could be a $20 million trial. If they pay for it as they have in the past, or we cost share, it'll be a bargain. So we hope that they'll continue their interest.
So what's the timetable of this development? When do you expect to have these conversations with the NCI and then to maybe start enrolling?
They'll be before mid-year. Right. So now that we licensed, this license occurred last week, and now the wall came down, so we can now engage with the clinical investigators at University of Colorado, and that happens in 10 days. And we build the protocol, then we go talk to the NCI, and then we go present it to the FDA. So this happens just over the next few months, and then we start.
Right. Now, on the diagnostic side, you guys have kind of got the commercial infrastructure to actually sort of run that. What's going to happen on the therapeutic side? Because it is a different sales proposition.
Yeah, it is. So our lead doctor is a pulmonologist. So they manage your case, and so we've got to get the pulmonologist talking to the oncologists more than they do these days, because this is a new era for lung cancer. So that discussion has started. We're running a test program in Florida to see how all this works out, and we also are publishing cost-effectiveness data. So the other driver is just the economics around all this to continue the reimbursement proposition. By the way, on the original path of primary screening using our LuCED test, as it's called, for early detection of lung cancer, we now have Kaiser Permanente signed up to lead the clinical trial. So this is a blue ribbon clinical trial team now joined by University of Colorado with the drug portion, and we'll bring these two together and move forward, hoping to get on the accelerated path with the FDA that opened up in the last 2 years, and we saw several companies actually utilize that successfully.
So, are you intending though to take it to all the way yourselves, or would you, once you get the data, then sort of find a big cancer-focused pharma to help you?
Well, so we know who those people are, right? So yes and yes. So either way, we are in discussions with big pharma. I can't tell you who they are, but you can list the key people. Yeah, some of them already announced their lung cancer is their key priority. We're deeply involved with those organizations. Expect a press release in the future. Right. That would be great to team up with them. In addition, we may go direct ourselves. We may consider taking a shot at public markets. We'll decisions yet to be made.
Okay. Well, Alan, thanks for coming along and sharing this with us.
Mike, it's been great. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Right.
Good to meet you.
Bye.
Thanks.